I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, honestly. Me and Emily had been together for almost 5 years, and I always thought we had a good thing going. We'd argue sometimes, sure, but who does? I was the kind of guy who believed in loyalty, trust, all that good stuff. We were supposed to get married in just a few days, and everything was supposed to be perfect. Or at least, I thought it was. The signs started sneaking in slowly, little things I brushed off at first. Emily's phone seemed to ring more at odd hours. She'd get defensive when I asked about who she was texting or calling. She started spending more time out with her friends, claiming she needed a breather before the wedding. I didn't think much about it. Everyone needs their space, right? But then came the weirdest part I didn't want to believe. Her attitude started to change. She was bitchier, more dismissive. She snapped at me over nothing, but I thought maybe she was just nervous about the wedding. I was out of town for a business trip the weekend before the wedding. Emily had the house all to herself, or so I thought. I was gone for 3 days and I was so busy I barely had time to breathe, but something felt off when I came back. I noticed her phone had a new passcode, a simple thing I'd never needed before. I also saw her delete texts from her phone. That got my gut twisting a little, but I told myself I was just paranoid. Then I saw her behavior shift even more. She was more touchy, more secretive. She'd disappear in the bathroom for ages. She'd also wear different perfume, ones I didn't recognize. It was all little clues, but enough to make me suspicious. Still, I held back. I didn't want to believe the worst. I was trying to keep my trust, to keep things normal so I wouldn't lose my head before the wedding. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Really wrong. I just didn't want to admit it. That night, I decided to do a little digging, even though I knew I probably shouldn't. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I also couldn't shake the feeling that I was being played. I snuck into her purse. While she was in the shower, not proud of it, but I was desperate to find something, anything that would confirm my suspicions. Her purse was a mess, honestly, but beneath some receipts and lipstick I found her phone. I hesitated for a second, my heart pounding, then I unlocked it with her passcode, something I'd never done before. I started scrolling through her messages, and that's when I saw it. A conversation with someone named Mike, who kept calling her babe and telling her how much he missed her. I saw pics of her and him, caught in a moment of what looked like a hotel room, her lying there in just a tangle of sheets, him leaning over her with some kind of smirk. My stomach dropped. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This wasn't just some innocent flirtation, this was full-blown cheating just days before our wedding. I saw enough to know that my wife, Emily, had slept with my best man. My best man, for God's sake. The same guy I trusted, the one who's been in my life for over 10 years. I stared at the screen for what felt like forever, feeling every ounce of my world crumbling. I felt sick, angry, betrayed all at once. How could she do this? How could she lie so effortlessly? I don't even remember how I managed to put her phone back exactly where I found it, but I did. I didn't even bother to wake her up. I just sat there, trembling, trying to process what I'd just seen. That moment, I knew everything had changed. There was no way I could look her in the eye now and pretend it was all okay. The wedding was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and instead I was staring down a future of betrayal and heartbreak. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept staring at the ceiling, wondering what I did wrong, questioning everything I thought I knew about her. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a mind racing 1,000 miles an hour. I knew I had to confront her, but I also knew there was no way I could do it rationally right then. I needed a plan, a calm way to get her to admit the truth, or at least give me some answers. I waited until she was in the kitchen, pretending to be normal, which honestly was a joke. She was all over the place, acting bitchy and dismissive as usual, but I could see the flicker of guilt behind her eyes. I took a deep breath and decided to start with a simple question. I asked her if she'd been unfaithful, and her reaction was immediate. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and spat out a bunch of lies. "Are you serious? You're crazy. I've been faithful. You're just paranoid because you're leaving for the wedding tomorrow. You always overthink everything." That was a lie. I knew it. I looked her dead in the eye and told her I saw the messages, the photos, everything. Her face turned red and she started to deny everything, then changed tactics. "It's just sex," she snapped. "It doesn't mean anything. Mike's just a friend, I swear. We were drunk and it was a mistake. You have to believe me, I love you." I wanted to believe her, I really did. But what I saw with my own eyes didn't lie. Still, I pressed her harder. I asked her what the hell she thought she was doing, sleeping with my best man just days before our wedding. She shrugged, that bitchy smirk on her face. "It's not your business, honestly. You're leaving tomorrow and I don't care what you think. Maybe I wanted to see if you'd find out. Maybe I wanted to hurt you, I don't know, but I don't regret it. It's just sex and you're overreacting." Overreacting. That's what she called it. The lies, the gaslighting. I felt like I was losing my mind. My world was crashing down around me, and she was just tossing insults and excuses. I couldn't believe I married someone capable of this level of betrayal, someone I thought I knew so well. Every second I spent with her that morning was a mix of rage, heartbreak, and the sickening realization that I'd been played for a fool. I kept asking myself how I could have missed the signs, how I could have been so blind. The woman I thought I loved was just a manipulative liar, and I was about to walk into a marriage with her. I knew I had to decide quickly because I couldn't face leaving for the wedding with this hanging over me. I needed a plan, and I needed to figure out what to do before she could spin her lies any further. After that confrontation, I knew I couldn't just pretend everything was okay or brush it under the rug. I needed to deal with her, but I also needed to keep my head clear. I decided to play it cool for a little while longer, try to get more concrete evidence, and see how she'd act if I pushed her a bit more. Honestly, I was furious, but I also felt a strange sense of calm, like I was already planning my next move. While she was preoccupied with packing her bags and making her, "I'm so innocent" face, I started thinking about how I was going to handle this. I didn't want to tip my hand, but I knew I had to figure out her next move. I decided to check her phone again, just to be sure, and this time I found a string of texts from Mike that she hadn't deleted. They were even more explicit than before, talking about finishing what we started, and "can't wait to see you again." I also saw her talking about how she had to keep it secret because she didn't want me to find out. That was the final nail in the coffin for me. I knew she was lying through her teeth, and I was done playing nice. I decided I'd confront her one last time, but this time not in a way that she could spin her way out of. I wanted her to see I was serious, that I knew every dirty little secret she'd been hiding. I also wanted her to realize I wasn't going to be some fool who took her lies, especially not after what I'd seen. The day of the wedding I kept my cool, but inside I was a mess. I had everything ready, plane tickets, a bag packed, and my mind made up. I was leaving her, no matter what. I couldn't marry a woman who slept with my best man and then lied straight to my face about it. I wanted to see her try to spin her stories, to see her squirm when she realized I knew the truth. I knew I was about to destroy everything she thought. She had her perfect facade, her false innocence. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. I deserved better than this. As I sat at the airport waiting to board my flight, I took one last look at her house through the window. The girl I loved was gone, replaced by someone cold and manipulative. I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. I'd lost her, yeah, but I also gained clarity. Sometimes you have to burn everything down to see what's really left standing. And I was done pretending she was anything other than what she was, a liar, a cheat, and someone I no longer trusted. The flight was a blur. I kept replaying everything in my head, her sneers, her lies, the way she tried to act innocent even as I knew she was sleeping with Mike. I felt numb, like I'd been punched in the gut so many times. I couldn't feel anything anymore. All I knew was I was walking away from her, from that life, and trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do next. When I landed, I didn't call her, I didn't write her, I just sat in a hotel room and let myself feel everything I'd been suppressing, the hurt, the betrayal, the utter disgust. I kept asking myself how someone I trusted could do this to me, how she could lie, cheat, and still have the nerve to act like the victim. I was angry, yes, but mostly I was heartbroken. I thought we had a future. I thought she loved me. Turns out, she just wanted to feed her ego and screw around with my best man. Over the next few days, I started reaching out to my friends, trying to piece together what to do next. Everyone was furious for me, especially when I told them what I'd found. My best man, James, was the worst part. He knew about her, knew she was cheating and still went along with it. I confronted him briefly, and yeah, the truth came out. He admitted it was a mess, that he'd fallen for her charm, that he didn't mean for everything to blow up like this. But honestly, that didn't matter anymore. The betrayal cut deeper than I ever expected. James was like a brother to me, and I never thought he'd stab me in the back. Like that, back home, I made a decision. I was done. Done with Emily, done with the lies, done with pretending I didn't know. I sent her a message before I left town. I know everything. Don't bother trying to deny it anymore. We're done. That message felt like a weight off my chest, but inside I felt hollow, like I'd lost something I could never get back. It was clear she didn't care about me. She cared about her little game, her secrets, her lies. And I was just a pawn in her pathetic chess game. Now I'm trying to put everything together. I don't know what's next for me, but I do know I won't let her destroy me. I've learned a lot about trust, about how people can hide who they really are behind a mask. I have to rebuild, and honestly, that's going to take time. But I'm never going to forget what she did. No matter how much pain it causes now, someday I'll move on. That's what I keep telling myself. Because sometimes, the biggest lesson is realizing who's truly on your side and who's just pretending. Looking back now, I realize this whole experience changed me in ways I didn't expect. I used to trust so easily, believed in love and loyalty without question. But now, I know better. I learned that people are capable of hiding their true selves behind pretty lies and false smiles. Emily was everything I thought she was, until she was. That realization hurts more than I can say, but it also set me free in a weird way. I no longer carry the weight of her betrayal. The hardest part was accepting that I was blindsided, that I almost married someone who had no problem sleeping with my best man just days before our wedding. It's a brutal lesson in not taking people at face value, in reading between the lines and trusting your instincts. I've come to understand that sometimes people will lie just to see how much they can get away with, and that it's not your fault when they do. Now, I focus on rebuilding myself. I've cut out the toxic people, including Emily and James. I'm reconnecting with friends I'd lost touch with because of her, trying to surround myself with genuine, honest people. I'm not rushing into anything new. I know better than to jump into another relationship right away. Right now, I just want to heal, to figure out who I am without her lies clouding my judgment. One thing I've learned from all this is that betrayal hurts, but it also teaches you a lot about your own strength. I'm not perfect, and I still feel the sting of what happened every day, but I refuse to let it break me. I believe that someday I'll find someone who's worthy of my trust, someone who will love me for who I am, not for what they can get away with. So to anyone out there in a similar situation, my advice is this: trust your gut, don't ignore the signs, and don't be afraid to walk away from toxic people, even if it hurts. The pain fades, but the lessons stay with you. And at the end of the day, that's what makes you stronger. Trust is a fragile thing, but it's also worth fighting for. Just make sure you're fighting for the right people.